I better go back and work this. So first I need to show you ones with irrational solutions. Don't try and copy all this down now. It's on the video. And you can copy it down later. So just listen to what I say since we're running low on time. So far we've been lucky. And after we simplify the discriminant, after we do all the stuff under the radical sign, we've been getting nice, neat things like 16. 16 is nice and neat because it's a perfect square, and I can actually take the square root of 16 and get an integer, 4, right? But sometimes we're going to get things that aren't nice and neat, like 73 is not a perfect square. That's why I didn't want you, Aaron, to put in the square root at the same time, is because sometimes it doesn't work out nice and neat, and when it doesn't work out nice and neat, I want you to write the answer 2 ways, okay? The reason why I want you to do that is on the state test, sometimes they want what is called an exact answer. These are exact answers. They're exact because if I say the square root of 73, that's exact. This number, the square root of 73, is really irrational, which means it goes on and on forever, right? It has an infinite number of digits. So the minute that I convert it into a decimal, it's no longer exact. It doesn't matter how many decimal places I round it to. Even if I round it to 1,000,000 decimal places, it's still not exact because it has an infinite number of decimals, right? There's no way to write it as a decimal and have it be exact. So I want you to write the exact answers because sometimes we want exact answers. And I also want you to write it as a decimal. And I'm going to show you how to accomplish that. It's real easy. Yes?
What if it's like 0.3 repeating? Wouldn't that still be exact?
It would be, you're right. But that's not going to happen on any of these. If you have a square root of any number that's not a perfect square, so like if it's not, this is a perfect square, so it works out to be 2. The square root of 2, the square root of 3, the square root of 5, all of these are irrational. The square root of any number that's not a perfect square is one of those non-repeating, non-terminating decimals that just keeps going forever. Right? That was an excellent point. I'm glad you said that. Okay, so let me show you actually how to work this. Because it's mostly the same, right? It's just the very last part. So A, B, and C. And I plug in. Let me move this problem out of the way because I'm going to need more room. So I got negative B. So that would be negative 8, which would just be 8. Plus or minus the square root of B squared minus 4 times A times C. And that's all over 2 times A.
Which is 3. 2 times 3.
Good.
Oh, I didn't see that.
And then I'm going to simplify the discriminant, so I'll give y'all a second to do that. Make sure that we're getting in the habit of punching it in and making sure we get the correct solution. What'd you get?
88.
88. Yep, 88. So I get 8 plus or minus the square root of 88 over
It's not perfect.
2 times 3 is 6. So then you would try and take the square root of 88 at this point. That would normally be our next step.
You get 9.38081.
And you get a crazy decimal, right? A long decimal. That's your clue. Oh, this is one of those ones that VZ wants me to write 2 different ways because it's got one of those irrational square roots,
So
right? One of those irrational answers. So
8 plus square root of 88 over 6, and then the same thing for 9.
that's it. So this is my answer. I just have to write it, I have to split it into 2, right? So the first way I want you to write the answer would be x equals 8 plus the square root of 88 over 6. And then the other one would be x equals 8 minus the square root of 88 over 6. So this is one of the ways I want you to write the answer. Then I want you to write it as a decimal. So here's how you'll get the decimal. You'll punch these in the calculator, right? Do 8 plus the square root of 88 and hit enter. That way we know that the calculator will do that part first. And then just hit divided by 6. Right? So 8 plus 88, enter. And then when you hit divided by, it'll say answer divided by. And then do divided by 6.
2.8.
Yes.
Every time I put this in the calculator.
Why can't you leave it the first way? Why do you have to write it 2 different ways? Because it's saying the exact same thing.
Every time I put it in the calculator, I just said.
I don't get it either.
Oh, because you have this, that's a negative sign?
Oh, because there has to be 2 x intercepts unless they're the same thing. And both of those ones.
But you know that it's 2 different intercepts if it has the plus minus
But I
sign.
put minus for the first time.
Aaron, stop being right.
No.
Oh, I left off before.
That one would work out, right?
What if you don't have, how we gonna do this at home if we don't have a calculator? Like,
Do you have a phone?
yeah.
That'll do it.
I don't know how to do it. I don't think the phone calculator's right all the time.
Yeah.
I've got some messed up answers.
Yeah.
It will do it. It's correct.
Yo, I can turn it sideways, all that stuff.
Why can't you leave it like you have it up there? Why, like,
Hold on 1 second, please. Go ahead.
why can't you leave it with the plus and minus sign? Why do you have to write it twice? Because
Okay.
you know it's saying what you wrote on the bottom.
Correct, but sometimes I need the approximation, right? Sometimes I need the decimal. I don't want the exact answer that's kind of ugly and clunky. Sometimes I want a decimal, which is not
No,
exact.
I'm not talking about that. Why do you have to
Oh, why
change
can't
the
I leave
way
it this
like
way?
that? Yeah.
Preference, my personal preference. That's a good question. 'Cause
So
that,
it's not even the math for it's just your personal
It's
preference
my personal
on
preference.
how you want us to write it on the
Mhm.
test.
Yeah.
So it was right.
all right, so do 8 plus 80, or 8 plus square root of 88, hit enter, divided by 6, hit enter. What do I get?
2.89680523.
Okay, so it's big, right? And I need to tell you what I want you to round it to.
I got 16.
Okay, so if you don't get what I'm about to write, then you need to try plugging it in again until you get it right. And I'll tell you what you're probably doing.
What did I do right?
But you should get, yes, you should get, I want it rounded to 3 decimal places, which means it would be 2.897. That's the first one. My guess is, if you were trying to put all of this in at first, all of this in at once, rather, it's gonna be wrong. And that's not what I'm telling you to do, right? I'm saying hit 8 plus the square root of 88 and hit enter.
Then divide by 6.
Then just hit the divided by button, and it'll say answer divided by, and then you write 6, and it'll divide the answer you got to this by 6, and that's what you want. And then you should get this. See if you can get this one.
It's like
Eight.
negative
-2.301385866.
Good. So if I want to round it to 3 digits, tell me what it is rounded to 3 digits.
negative .230.
Yep. Negative .230. Okay, I got to move on because I got to show you one more.
Was it negative 2.30?
The decimal was before the 2.
Okay.
I got the one 12,500.
Okay, try punching it again because you punched it in wrong. The answer is definitely right that I've got up there. Alright, so here's the last thing I need to show you, and this is just one little extra thing. But you'll notice, just like yesterday, all the problems I've worked have had something in common. They've all been equal to 0, right? So now here's the problem that's not equal to 0, but I can fix that really easily by doing what?
Add 19x.
Good, very, very good. Add 19x. Make sure you put it in the right spot. Make sure you put it in descending order.
My brain hurts.
I'm sorry. And now from here to the end, it would be just like all the other problems I've worked. So let's go ahead and work it. This will be our last one. So A is 6, B is 19, C is 15.
Wait, I got a question.
If you feel relatively confident with this, you should try and work it ahead of me. You should try and work it on your own as I'm working it. You can work it faster than me because I'm going to be talking my way through it. Yes?
If there's like a greatest common factor, can you take it out or not on this problem?
That's an excellent question. Not on these. Right? Because we're not doing any factoring on these. Yes.
question. So, would A always be the first number?
No, it depends on what order it's in. Right? A is always the number attached to x squared. B is always the number attached to x. And C is always the number with no variable in it.
It's not
No
like
matter what order they're in.
it's not like standard form. It's ax plus b
Ax squared
x
plus C.
plus c.
That's exactly it. That's where we get the A, B, and C from. Okay, so let's plug this in. So I've got negative B, so that's negative 19, plus or minus the square root of 19 squared minus 4 times A, which is 6, times C, which is 15. All of that is over 2 times 6. Now we're going to simplify the discriminant. So you guys try that in your calculators, see if you can get that.
I got 1.
You got 1?
Yes, sir.
Is that what we're all getting? 1?
How they type
We
it
didn't
in?
work it, I'm trying
That
to
little
do it right
thingy
now.
dilly do.
It's gonna be 1.
They're probably
It is
gonna
one.
get in before
1 divided by, yeah, it's all divided by
And
12.
this is 12. Okay, so then I would try and take the square root of 1. Well, square root of 1 is 1. So this one is not 1 I'm going to have to write 2 ways, right? I only have to write this the one way. This is like the ones we worked at first. So I would have negative 19 plus or minus 1 over 12. This is ready to be split into the two problems, right? One of them is negative 19 plus 1 over 12. and one of them-
don't have to write it one way.
Yeah, you
I'm
do.
only going to write the answer one way. I'm
Oh.
going to get two x values, but that's one answer, right? Negative 19 plus 1 is negative 18 over 12. And that's not going to be a whole number, but it will simplify.
It's negative 1.5.
Okay, so give me the fraction, please. Negative 3 over 2. Okay, and negative 19 minus 1 is negative 20 over 12. Again, I'm going to get a fraction, but
Negative
it will
5 over
simplify.
3.
So negative 5 over 3. And so my final answer would be x equals negative 3 over 2, and x equals negative 5 over 3. Okay, let me stop this, and then I will give you the homework.